In Brazil, authorities are now investigating Sunday's extraordinary attack on government buildings by supporters of former President Bolsonaro. Yesterday, soldiers and police restored order to the capital and dismantled a camp where many of the rioters had been based. NBC News correspondent Guad Venegas joins us now from Miami with the latest on all this. So, Guad, Brazil's President Lula has been very critical of the military for what happened over the weekend. What's he saying about that, and just what's the latest on the ground right now?
Joe, good morning. This camp that we just saw images of is a few miles away from the area with these federal buildings that were invaded by the protesters, the Congress building, the Supreme Court building, and, of course, the presidential palace. So Lula da Silva has criticized all security forces who are in charge of that federal area of the capital, Brasilia, asking why these protesters were allowed to get so close to the federal buildings and then eventually enter them, causing that destruction that we saw. So part of the investigation will look into the actions of the police force that was in charge of that area. Here's Lula speaking about this subject.
E tem quase 1.500 pessoas presas.
There are almost 1,500 people in jail, and they are going to be in jail until we finish the investigation. And it's important that people know that we will not stop investigating those who are possibly victims, who were just tools, those who possibly received food and help to come here to protest. Because those in charge certainly didn't come here, and we want to know who financed. Who paid?
A visibly upset Lula. Every time he has spoken about what happened, he gets very emotional. One of the other things she said is that there's people behind that finance all of this to be able to happen, and that investigation, of course, continues. The Minister of Justice in Brazil has spoken, and it's very important, Joe, to mention, after all this discussion of former President Jair Bolsonaro being in the U.S. and whether he could be extradited or not, federal authorities yesterday, the Minister of Justice said there is no criminal process against Jair Bolsonaro, and that's why there is no order to extradite him, and at the moment there's no plan to extradite him or ask to extradite him from the United States.
I do want to ask you more about the ex-President Bolsonaro, Guad. I mean, we understand he's being treated for abdominal discomfort related to a stabbing he suffered back in 2018. That is according to his wife. Bolsonaro even tweeted a picture of himself saying that the hospital is in Orlando, in Florida. So do we know what his condition is and how long he's planning to stay in the U.S.?
All right, so here's the photo that he tweeted. So Bolsonaro was stabbed in 2018. He shared information yesterday on social media here indicating that he's undergone 5 surgeries since that stabbing. He says that as a result of the surgeries that he's undergone, he's had what's called intestinal adhesions. He's got a new adhesion. This is an issue with the stomach, with the intestines that people sometimes have after they undergo any type of surgery in the abdominal bag. And that's what he's dealing with in the hospital. We knew that Jair Bolsonaro had left Brazil when he was still president, came to Orlando. We saw videos on social media where he appeared to take photos with his supporters. Then yesterday, his wife shared the information that he had been admitted to a hospital, and now he is sharing more information as he continues to recover. That's the latest we have, and this is coming from him, Joe.
All right, Guad Venegas in Miami. Guad, thank you.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.